on the agenda? Okay, good. We will have Chase start with the Sustainable Business Program. Chase.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. So there is a lot going on with the SB program. We have our new addition to the team is Rebecca Settle. She is on the call today and she is doing the minutes. Thank you once again for doing that. And she has actually been a huge asset to our team in terms of the Sustainable Business Program and other things, of course. But she's really taken a lead on some of the projects that we've been needing to get done with the program, but we just haven't had the time or it's been on the back burner. So first and foremost, I want to say that, we did reach out to the Golden One Center and we did confirm our spot for September 21st at the Golden One Center, our usual venue. So everything should be going as swimmingly as before. So far, no hiccups with what we're able to do and able to accomplish, and so that is good news first and foremost. And so we will hopefully be having our physical award ceremony this year. And we did reach out to Uptown Studios as well, and they will hopefully be doing the videos again. We're in conversation right now, but things are also looking very good there. We revamped our, aside from the award ceremony, back on boots on the ground stuff, we revamped our Easy as 1, 2, 3 sustainable business flyer, which needed desperately a makeover. And so we went through some ideas internally, and then we reached out to our county media team, Allison Harris, who is our economic development media person. And she developed a really nice flyer with the content we had. And so all this information, by the way, nomination form, the Easy as 1, 2, 3 flyer, the save the date once we have it, we'll send that out via email to the BERC steering committee meeting, all in one nice package. But on top of that, now that we did secure I'm jumping back to the awards ceremony, sorry. But now that we did secure our venue, we are going to be asking, all of our funding partners with the usual help, from 2019 and previous years, for nominations for businesses that you think in our Sacramento region show exemplary sustainable efforts in our community, and also ideas for a keynote speaker. We always are looking for someone in the region that knows about sustainability, that has their finger on the pulse of the region, that could talk about where we are in Sacramento. So if you have any ideas, please let us know. We're always looking for ideas for that keynote speaker. We want to secure them as early as possible so there's no chance of not having one. Other than that, some other general updates that we have. We are working with SMUD SMUD has 2 awards for their 2030 carbon neutral goal. So we're working with SMUD to kind of mesh that with our sustainability checklist and have the nomination process be the same. But essentially, excuse me, SMUD will be able to give 2 of these awards to businesses that are helping them achieve their 2030 zero carbon goal. And if you're unfamiliar with that, I can share a link to that zero carbon goal whole plan. They have a PDF plan on their website, which is really, really informational. And not to mention, I think it's the first in the country for an energy company to do something like this. And so it's really unique in our region that we have something, a goal like this or an initiative. One of the other general updates that we have is Rebecca has thankfully taken our SB checklist and is turning it into an online fillable form, which, as you know, in today's age, that's just kind of the way that things need to be. It makes it easier. It makes it less stress for the business. They don't have to print anything out, and it's more sustainable. And so that's one of the other things that we're doing. We should have that done in the next week or two, but we'll be checking in on that. And I think that is about it for our general updates for SB. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
One thing, Chase, the other thing that we talked about, virtual and in person.
Oh, yes. So the other thing on top of that, with the online fillable form, the checklist, we are devising a way to do virtual certifications. So, kind of going along with what's happened in the past couple of years, we're moving to make it even easier for the businesses so they can choose whether they want to have an in-person consultation or an in-person certification, or if it makes sense to have a virtual certification. And, some of our funding partners like SMUD already do this. So it is possible, and we have the criteria and the guidelines to do this. And so that would just make it one step easier for a business to get certified, take less time out of their day, and hopefully improve the certifications in the region.
Excellent. And for those of you who are new to BERC, you may not realize that we do certify businesses that adopt environmentally friendly practices in 6 different areas. And so as we send that information out, we will also send that to you as well. We have not only the flyer that Chase mentioned, we also do have a brochure that explains the program, pretty simply. So we will follow up with that as well. Any questions for Chase on anything so far?
No immediate question, but just really pleased to hear about the great progress that's happening with the program. And, SMUD has interest in seeing that grow and flourish, and to have as many local businesses adopt sustainable practices. So appreciate the entire team, and welcome, Rebecca. I believe you're on our last call as well, but appreciate all your work in that space. And to our BERC colleagues, I just got approval finally for the data sharing, so we could start doing those customer referrals from SMUD to drive additional growth. So that's exciting, and look forward to having that flow of lead generation start happening. So thanks again for your work.
Thank you, Jim. BERC outreach, Chase, new business mailouts.
Yeah. So again, thank you, Rebecca. Rebecca has taken the lead on a lot of the stuff that we just haven't had the time to do. And so every month we get a new list of business licenses in the county of Sacramento, and we comb through that list and send out pertinent information that relates to them and their industry type. So, for instance, if we see a restaurant or an auto body shop, we can definitely send information that pertains to their type of business, along with our general BERC information as well. So Rebecca has the numbers. We can share those numbers with you, but it's a couple hundred, maybe about 100 to 200 businesses per month that we're seeing in the business license category. So that's good. And so far, the kickback, usually we get some kickbacks from business licenses that weren't established, or wrong address or whatever. But this month we had we're very have a positive outlook on the number of business licenses coming in. That's good news for our region, and obviously good news to get information out for our funding partners and BERC.
And so if you have information, and we can share with the industry, we do a general mail out, but we do, as Chase just mentioned, have information that goes specifically out to certain industries. And so we can share those. And if any of our funding partners have information that they would like to go out in the mail outs, we definitely can do that as well. Any questions on the business mail outs?
This is a little bit of a tangent, but I can use the education. Sacramento County, do we require all businesses to obtain business licenses, or only certain industries? And I ask because we're trying to standardize our data with our commercial haulers, as well as ensure there's a unique identifier to help us match when someone changes a hauler for their garbage. And so if it is like the city of Sac and everyone's required, that would be great to know.
Well, it's interesting because I do know for different cities, matter of fact, let's see, for different cities, sometimes it may be a little bit different which industries require a business license, and most of them do. But I do know, I believe there are some categories that don't, but I believe it's very minor and minimal, the number. But Jennifer, we definitely can check on that for you, just to be certain.
Unincorporated county, almost all businesses require a business license. Laura Jacobson with licensing can provide the exceptions, but I believe it's very few exceptions, like residential care homes, and I think places of worship. It's a very small list of businesses that do not require a business license.
Do you know, Wendy, is that pretty standard in the cities as well?
In the cities within Sacramento County, I believe so, but they may all have their own nuances on exceptions. Yeah.
Thank you.
No, that's helpful. Another nuance is there's waste brokers, and they don't appear to have any business licenses, yet they're doing business in the area. And so it's unclear if they're required. So I will check in with Laura to understand better. Thank you, Wendy.
And then I don't know about the cities, but in the unincorporated county, certain businesses need more than just a general business license. They actually have additional special licenses that they're required to have, particularly if they sell tobacco, or if they're dealing with recycled materials or metal. There's Laura can give you a whole list of all the people that need special licenses in addition to the general.
Thank you, Wendy. Any other questions? If not, we will move right along. Capital Region Small Business Week. So that is a project and a program that BERC has been intimately involved in since its inception. So it's been quite a few years now, and we work with other organizations within Sacramento County to host Capital Region Small Business Week. And BERC is one of the founding members of that organization. And so this year, the event is going to be held starting, if I could look at my calendar, it's normally in May. And this year, it's going to be, I believe the week of, I believe it's May 2nd. I'll verify that. And during the week, there are a bunch of different organizations that are part of it, including the City of Sacramento, their Economic Development Department, the Small Business Administration, the SBA. So there are a lot of different groups. And so within that week, the City of Sacramento and the County of Sacramento host what's called BizX. And each year we have a different theme. This year, the committee has decided that the event, and ours is on, I apologize, it's either on the 3rd or the 10th. And I'll get you more information as it goes along, but our event is going to be virtual this year with speakers. And so we are trying to put the final touches on it as we speak. We meet each week, and as more details become available, I will let you know about that. Because we should have, let's see, this is March, April, May. You'll probably get information emailed to you more about what's going on with Capital Region Small Business Week and the BizX event, because some of your your customers or permittees may have some interest in some of the workshops that are going to be going on. So it'll be Monday through Friday of the week. And so please stay tuned for more information about Capital Region Small Business Week and BizX. Is there a question?
No question, but June, I was just looking online. Yeah, it doesn't look like they've published or updated the website. Most of it has been 2020 or 2021 info, it looks like still. But it sounds like that might be forthcoming.
Still there. Yeah, I think it's been slow. I think everybody's been so busy, crazy busy, that we haven't gotten everything up as quickly as we should, but it should be forthcoming.
And is your event going to be just the county on its own, or is it in partnership with someone else? I didn't catch that.
It's in partnership. It's in partnership with the city of Sacramento
Okay.
and Sac State as well too for our event.
Okay.
But ours will be the Tuesday, definitely the Tuesday. So they're starting to assign dates for each group. And as I said, this year it's been a little bit slower than it normally is because I think there's so much going on. But we'll make sure that we get all the information to you.
Great.
Any additional questions? Okay, we will go on to the Carmichael Chamber of Commerce. One of the other things that you'll be receiving after this call is a list of all the chambers that BERC is a member of. One of them, in which I go to the meetings, is the Carmichael Chamber of Commerce. They also have a huge interest in sustainability. And I've been working with their executive director, and we are going to be hosting a table at their next event along with other folks, just to talk about our sustainable business program. And we will have the flyer that Chase had mentioned, the SB12, as easy as 123. And so we have the ability to also have other funding partner information at the table. So if you have something that you would like for me to have at the table during this event on the 22nd, please forward it to me at least a couple days before the event, and we can put it out on our outreach table. So just a heads up for that. Sustainability is something that our several of our funding partners have a big interest, as well as BERC does. And so what we're going to be doing with the chamber is they have a huge interest in sustainability. So we're going to be working with them and some of their members to make sure that they understand what the sustainability program for BERC is, and that it's as easy as 1, 2, 3 to become a sustainable business, and what that does for them, which makes them eligible for the award ceremony that Chase mentioned early each year. And so we're going to make a sustained push with them. And that's part of the reason for having the table, so that they could come talk to us about what the program is, how to become certified. So we're looking very forward to that. Any opportunities, it's sort of nice now that we're able to actually go out and see people again, and make our push for why sustainability is important and how to become certified. So again, that date is March 22nd. So if you could at least get me anything that you would need or would like to be on our table by the 20th, which would be great. And we can come pick up whatever it is that you have.
Hey, June, what would you recommend on a quantity for outreach? Like how many do you interact with?
I would say if you could give me, I would say 50 of each thing.
Okay, great.
That would be helpful. They're starting to meet in again, which is nice. And the last meeting that I went to, there were quite a bit of people. I think they were like close to like 70, which was really good. I think people are tired of being cooped up, so it's really nice to see each other. So if you could give me maybe 50 to 70 of what you have for the outreach, would be great. Any other questions? If not, I will go on to webinar capability. We weren't sure if everyone knew that BERC has the ability to do Zoom webinars. The webinar format gives you a lot more capabilities to work with groups and have presentations. BERC has done quite a few of them in the past, and we will continue to do more. The virtual format seems to work for a lot of people. We actually tend to have a lot more attendance at the virtual events that we've had so far. We just recently, last week, had one with the Environmental Management Department about, and it was titled Sacramento County Retail Food Facility Restaurant Webinar. And those venues seem to be very helpful for folks. And we're going to continue to do more. And we wanted to make sure that all of our funding partners knew that that was available to them. Even if it's a webinar that you want to host that you don't necessarily or want us to provide a presentation, it can be some kind of outreach that you're trying to do. And when I say we, I really mean Chase, because he's the one behind most of the webinars running things. But we have found that it's been a powerful tool that funding partners like and utilize. So just as you're doing your outreach, please think about that. And that's something that we can offer as part of being a BERC funding partner. If there's not any questions, we will go on to new and upcoming grants that are available. I don't know if all of you have followed in Sacramento County as part of the ARPA, American Rescue Plan Act. The county has, the county board members have decided that we will have some webinars, some grants for small businesses. During all the COVID times, one of the issues was that some of the very small businesses did not receive some of the funding that many people would have thought that they should have received. And so the board voted to offer some micro grants in Sacramento County. In fact, the webinar that we did last week with EMD, it involved a presentation by Sacramento County Economic Development Department that covered some of the grants and some of the criteria for the grants. And so to find out more, the actual website is SAC4 micro. And you can find it on the BERC website. You can find it on the Economic Development website for the county. All of the criteria in order for someone to see, okay, will I be eligible for that? And the grants actually open up on April 1 of this year. And so if you know of very small businesses, generally it's 5 employees or less, 50,000 annually, it's generally the criteria. But right now, a business can go on and to the website and check the box to see if they would be eligible so that they can be ready on April 1st to submit. And it is my understanding that how they're going to do it, it's sort of randomly who is going to get the grants. And I believe they are $2,500. So they don't have to be paid back. They are grants. Any questions on the grants? Okay, I'm hoping most of you have heard about them already so that you are sort of familiar with it. But if not, you can always contact one of us or take a look at the BERC website for the link on that. Moving on, to staff leads, for steering committee members. Each of you probably know who your main person is, but we've shifted a little bit, and I just wanted to go over it in case you wanted to know. Who are the BERC staff that are the lead for each one of our funding partners? Who is that? And so we're going to send this to you, so you don't need to really write any of it down. So for the Sacramento Metropolitan Air Quality Management District, it is Jordan. That covers both stationary source and mobile source. For regional SAN, Jordan. Sacramento Department of Airports, Jordan. And so these next few, Chase is going to have building permits and inspection, Department of Water Resources, Department of Waste Management and Recycling, Planning and Environmental Review, and SMUD. And so I am the lead person for the Environmental Management Department, which includes environmental health and environmental compliance. So we'll send that to you. And while I have the list open, I'm going to go ahead and mention for chambers and PBIDs and associations, these are the ones that we are part of, and we'll send this to you as well. I had mentioned earlier the the Carmichael Chamber of Commerce, the North Sac Chamber of Commerce, Orangevale Chamber of Commerce, Rancho Cordova, and the Sacramento Rainbow Chambers of Commerce. There are also two PBIDs, Property Business Improvement Districts, Mack Road and Florin Road. And we're also members of the Sacramento branch of the California Restaurant Association. So we do receive emails and updates from the Restaurant Association as well. All of these different organizations normally have newsletters. If you have information that you would like to go into some of their newsletters, please let us know. As members, we have the ability to do that. Generally, what they like to have is our flyers. Flyers give sort of general information. Most of the information is sent out electronically, so you can provide a link to more information. But the simpler and the easier to read with a lot of detail, but just sort of a teaser for them to get interested in whatever it is that you're talking about. So that is available to you as well. I know Chase has mentioned in the past Messenger Publishing Group and has sent out a lot of information about that. For those of you who don't know what that is, Messenger Publishing Group publishes small newspapers, local newspapers that go into communities, and a lot of businesses and a lot of community members read those papers. For instance, there is an Arden Advocate, there is a Carmichael Times. And so each one of our funding partners has the ability, as part of what you already pay BERC, to put like a flyer or information into Messenger Publishing Group, into the different newspapers that they have. So what I'll also do is to have Chase send that back out to you again, just so that you know what the dates are, which months have already been taken, which ones are open, and also too what the dimensions of the articles are, so you know what it is you need to do. And so some of you have taken advantage of that. I hope you find that useful. And if you have not, maybe it's something that you might want to think about, but you can contact Chase for that. Any questions? So I'll move on to number 7, BERC American Rescue Plan Act funding. As part of the funding that the board has set aside, BERC did receive some funding, which is great. So in talking to the director of BERC, not the director of BERC, but the director of economic development, one of the things that's going to happen is BERC is going to be helping to outreach in a lot of different ways. We're starting out mostly with funding. What we want to do in the very near future is also reestablish business walks within different communities. So it is not equitable for funding partners to pay for that, even though you may find it useful as we are going out to do those walks. We don't have any planned yet, but we decided it's not really pertinent or fair for funding partners to have to pay for that, because it's really outreach for ARPA. And so that's what we'll be using our funds for. So what we received was 100,000 for this year, and then 100,000 for next. And one of the things that we're going to be working on and talking to Troy Givens is we want to be able to stabilize funding for BERC. And so in this next 2 years, we're working on that instead of having something that's sort of more dynamic. We've heard that from the funding partners. We've also heard that the way that the billing goes, that we in arrears is not something anybody likes. We don't really like it either. Something that's been done in the past. And so we are working to change that as well. So we got a lot sort of going on in that area. I did number 8, so we'll skip to number 9. No, we did number 9 and chamber memberships, number 8. We're going to send you all this information as far as the memberships and then also the lead people for those chambers as well after this call. So that's mainly the updates that we have. Are there any questions on anything that Chase and I have mentioned during this call so far? Okay. We're a quiet bunch today. I also wanted to include that you saw, as far as BERC steering committee members are concerned, there have been a lot of changes and a lot of retirements. So some of the contact people that you're used to on our steering committee calls have changed and will change. The director of planning, Leanne Moffitt, has retired. Nancy Springer, I believe last Friday was her last day with building permits and inspection. And Leanne, of course, was the director of planning and environmental review. So if there are any updates to that, I think when we come to planning, we'll hear about that. And also towards the end of this month, the EMD, Environmental Management Department Director Marie Wooden, will be retiring, and all these folks definitely will be missed, but the one constant is change. And so there's a lot of change going on right now, but we thank each one of them for their service and for being part of the BERC steering committee. They will be missed, but that provides other opportunities for other people. So we'll be doing some updates with our new members. One of which officially that's here today is Wendy Hartman. And so Wendy, I know you've been on a call before. Unless there's anything else anyone wants to say, we can move right into the roundtable. All right, Wendy, do you have any updates for planning and environmental review?
Mostly just available if anyone has questions. We've been working closely throughout COVID with EMD staff, specifically as it relates to restaurants. And so we have outdoor dining guidance that allows restaurants to continue to operate outdoors consistent with state law through 2024. Doesn't require any permit if you're in the unincorporated county, so long as you are doing it on the property that the restaurant's located on. DOT did receive a request for someone to use some area within the public right of way, and those types of requests do require DOT sign off and permitting to be within the right of way. So I think that program's gone pretty well. We haven't really, we've had very few issues. Every once in a while, we do have a business owner that goes a little rogue and starts building a lot of structures without permits. And so code and building have been really good about letting them know what the rules and regs on that are. With both Leanne and Nancy retiring, there is not an interim for either of those positions. So in planning, the 4 principals are just kind of working together. We've each been assigned components of Leanne's work, but both building and planning are under a community development director. And so David DeFonte was hired earlier, or when mid-February. So he's been here about a month. So he's actually the one that's kind of overseeing both of those departments until those positions are filled.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Wendy? Okay, Jennifer, would you like to go next?
I always look around. There's always more than one Jennifer. So
Yeah. Claymore.
All right. I think most of the updates we provided last time, we're all still working full steam ahead. So just as a quick kind of recap, 1383 started in January. So we are all kind of moving from planning into implementation at this point. And so we did receive our last our last rate increase from the county, from the board. And with that, we are able to move forward with the last pieces of 1383 implementation, which include purchasing additional trucks because our green waste bin, which will become our organics bin, will need to be picked up weekly rather than bi-weekly, every other week. So that will require more trucks and more labor. So we're moving forward with that. In addition, because we're going to be collecting this food waste in the green waste, that makes that material protrussible. And because of that, there are folks on this call who know that that kind of material doesn't necessarily just get to be out in the open. So green waste was managed outside, uncovered. And so now that we're adding food waste, we need to bring that indoors. So that funding will help us build an organics building so we can manage all that material at NARS indoors before it transfers to a processor, currently going to compost. And then, as mentioned, we're still moving forward. I believe it's a July 1. We are going to turn on that weekly organics for our residents. So we're just working hard at trying to get those customers who are currently exempt from green waste, getting them the services that they need because they are no longer exempt. The state requires that they now have these containers to collect their food waste, even if they don't have green waste. That includes mobile home parks and condos that the county unincorporated services. And then commercially, Becky, do you want to give any updates? We're working hard on continuing to work with businesses and bringing them into compliance for some older laws, 1826 and 341.
Yes, that's pretty much what I've been working on, but Esther's back now, so she's gonna kind of be taking over some of those roles. But yes, just trying to bring all the businesses in compliance, because whether they need an organics service or not, then they have to at least fill out the compliance form one way or another. So just been working a lot with businesses, try to get them to understand that, because a lot of them think that they don't need it, therefore they don't fill out the compliance form, and then their hauler drops the bin, and then all of a sudden that wakes them up and they get a charge. So we've just been working real hard to get most of the businesses compliant, which I think we're pretty good yeah, on the road so far. You know, some stragglers, but that's quite a project in itself. So that's pretty much from my end as far as updates.
Any questions for us?
Jennifer, this is Jaime. I do have a question. I didn't, maybe if you can clarify for me, the green waste and the food waste, and now for Sac County residents and businesses, there's going to be a difference for both, but is the food waste, I think I heard you say that the food waste will be collected in the green waste for residents. Is that how it's going to be? Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
And to
Okay, and then-
clarify, the residents in the unincorporated county who are serviced by Sacramento County,
Got it. Okay.
most all the cities are also going forward with that, but I just want to make sure that I'm speaking for only our customers. So yes, their existing green waste cart, starting July 1 we'll now call it an organics cart, because it will also contain food waste and food soiled paper. So like napkins, that kind of fibrous material can be collected as well.
And then that's going to be hauled over to NARS, and then that's where it'll be separated and processed.
So the north part of the county gets collected and sent to NARS, and then it gets transferred to the processing facilities. The south half goes right now directly to Elder Creek, where that material is collected in the process, or excuse me, collected and then sent off to processors from there.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Rebecca. And next we'll have, was there a question? No. Next we'll have Bree Taylor from Airports.
Thanks. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Cool. All right. My phone is being really finicky these days. Thank you for letting me go next, because pretty much the only update I have at the airport regards waste. We are obviously seeing our traffic numbers go up, and the TSA is keeping their mask mandate in, I guess, through the end of April. And without any other vicious variants emerging, then we should be back to normal. So the one update I do have is back in 2014, the airport put together a waste management working group that was very broad and had a number of people from our different sections, and then also had our waste hauler and Etienne from Waste Management and Rich from BERC to kind of get everybody on the same page and to be a case study for the organics diversion prior to the law actually going into effect, and to enhance our recycling rates. And that working group was around until I think about 2018, and did great things, and were kicking goals, so to speak, until COVID came along. The waste management working group did disband before COVID, but then, COVID came along, and all of our food waste diversion and recycling ground to a halt, unfortunately, and we find ourselves having to start over. But having had success with the waste management working group in the past, our leadership has decided that they want to bring the band back together, so to speak, which is really cool. We have identified further sections, more sections internally than we had previously, and our waste hauler will be popping in every now and then to help us out. But we've decided to combine the waste management and BERC role together, since we think that Jordan has a really good hand on the regulations and that he can probably serve both functions. So we did a huge walking tour of the concourses about a month ago in order to determine the areas post-consumer for food waste collection that we will need now. And we're currently working on trying to find some appropriate bins to put out there. We're bringing in our marketing team to do all new signage for our bins, so that will be great. And then just, rather than having the quote unquote recycling coordinator bear the responsibility for carrying the whole airport, both internally and externally, we now have a team of about 14 people that will be doing it moving forward and reporting our progress to leadership, because this is a metric our leadership wants to keep a thumb on. As a matter of fact, we had a planning meeting for this, and I was asked to bring the diversion reports for the last 4 years and explain them to our deputy directors, which that was great fun. So that is about the only update that I have. And of course, I will be able to, update you further as that progresses. And Chase, great stuff on the sustainable business front. Looking forward to the new award winners in September.
Thank you. Me too.
Thank you, Bree. Any questions for Bree, anyone?
Quiet group.
Okay, next up, let's go with Jania from EMD.
Good morning, everyone. So yeah, EMD has been pretty busy over the last, past few weeks since we last had this meeting. So June covered the webinar last week. So we had the retail food / restaurant webinar. I do want to say that working with BERC to do this restaurant webinar was really easy. It's very professionally done. It was a great format, and I would highly recommend it. So we've done a few of those, and we really enjoy that format. So moving forward, we're planning on continuing that. So thank you, June. Thank you, Chase. That was great. We're in the midst of, or we're actually just finished our second month of billing for the American Rescue Plan Act retail food fee waiver program that we put together. So each month we will be applying a waiver or a credit to all the retail food businesses equal to their permit for their health permit for food. And so, like I said, we just completed January and February. We're getting ready to do March. And so we've gotten some great feedback from businesses. They're real happy about that. Inspectors like giving good news. So that's been fun for them that they're able to provide them with that news and that they're getting that waiver, whether it be later on in the year or if it's coming up sooner. So that's been really nice. So that's been a program that's done very well, and businesses are very happy to see that and really like that they're having that credit given to them. EMD is also working with, and this is in the infancy, so this is something we'll probably be bringing up in future meetings, just kind of updates of what we're doing, is a water reuse planning. And so as part of a sustainability project, working with the cities, the county on water reuse and how that can be incorporated into buildings and new construction. I don't have a lot of details exactly what that's going to look like. We're part of the study to see what that would look like, how that would impact some businesses. We're mostly looking at, say, cross connection, with those different types of water sources coming into buildings. But that's a big project that we'll be a part of moving forward. And I think that's about it.
All right, thank you, Jania. And one of the things I did mention to stuttering now, to Jania, is that I went to the last, it was a joint chamber meeting, and sometimes when they give me a few minutes to talk, I will talk about different subjects. And one of the subjects I brought up was the fee waiver that Jania just mentioned. And people actually applauded, and that was a nice feeling, not one I get to experience on behalf of one of our funding partners, but it was really nice. I'm sure just like their specialists to be able to give people good news. So people really do appreciate it.
They do. It's been one of the better projects to work on. All of our projects are great, but it's certainly nice to deliver good news and see smiles on people's faces. So it's been good.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you,
June.
Linda, Regional Sand, Whiskas.
Morning. Hi. Let's see. And talk about a few things. One, the Capital Commerce Center is moving along with their demos and planning. They're constructing some warehouse shelves so they can market those. We track the sewer impact fee credits on that property. That used to be the old Campbell Soup property, and we still permit the water treatment plant on that site. But they also had some of their credits turned into something that they could use off-site to help develop projects. So they've been doing a lot of developments or selling their sewer credits, I guess, to spur development on city tenant improvements, mostly like apartments and multifamily housing. And then they also put that into new developments as well. So it's kind of like using the credit and putting it to use. that sewer credit. But they seem to think this year is going to be a banner year, and they're really going to get everything ready for new customers. So we'll see. They've been working a lot in the Metro Air Park area. So I think there's been a lot happening over there. The fees, the SASD, the Sacramento Area Sewer District fee, is going to go up in July. That's for connecting. And then regional SAN, they're looking at also for next year. And their industrial fees will go up as well. But we haven't had too many new connections for an industry. They're mostly commercial and residential. We don't know the exact figures yet, but they will be going up mostly because of Echo Water, that tertiary treatment upgrade at the plant. So they have to smooth out those construction costs as they go in. And next year, we should have all of our tertiary treatment equipment in place and running and operating, and, you know, so we'll be able to see the full effect of our tertiary treatment. But we did do a study, so I just wanted to mention one of our scientific studies in the river was to look at the phytoplankton growth and whether our effluent had an impact on it or not. So they took samples while we were discharging and while we weren't discharging and tried to see whether phytoplankton grew. They did notice that phytoplankton availability drops as it goes downstream towards the delta, but they, in their study, showed that our effluent does not affect it. There's something else affecting it, and we just don't know what yet, like light, residence time, animal grazing, like clams, something else impacting the reduction. More studies to come on that. Harvest water is what we're calling a project to use recycled water in the South County area, so mostly on agricultural land and some habitat lands. They're going to build purple pipes that go down to all these different areas. And some of the farmers will be using recycled water instead of pulling the groundwater. So this will help conserve groundwater and benefit the habitat. Eventually, over years, we'll get back some of those like vernal pools and sources of water for animals and habitat. So it's a good project that'll last a really long time. And they're underway as far as design. So the pipes aren't in place yet, but we're headed in that direction. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Linda. Any questions for Linda? Okay, we will move on to, let's go with Colleen and then Jim, both from SMUD.
Great. Good morning, everyone. I wanted to first introduce Colleen McCormick. I know BERC folks, I think were able to meet her on a previous call, but for the broader steering committee, she has taken the place of Laura Fisher, so our sustainability lead at SMUD, and is gonna share some updates on her work. Just before that, I just want to confirm and reiterate SMUD's commitment to moving towards zero carbon by 2030. So our outreach to the business community has really been focused on communicating that, identifying resources that we have that enables their businesses to go that route. And, you know, in light of that, we're really supportive and look to ramping up efforts to get more of our customers certified as sustainable businesses through BERC's programs. And so we're excited to continue working with BERC on that to see that program grow, and looking forward to presenting those initial zero carbon award recognition goals during the upcoming award ceremony. And thrilled that you're able to confirm a date, so it's getting more real. Fingers crossed that it sticks. Yeah, I think that those are kind of the main focuses, really outreach and updating our customers on that plan. But with that, I will turn it over to Colleen. If you want to share some background maybe on yourself, as well as what you're doing now at SMUD.
Sure, thanks, Jim, and thank you, Jim. It's nice to meet you all. It's really great just to hear everyone's updates and learn more about what's taking place around Sacramento. It's really exciting. So actually Friday will be my 2-month anniversary with SMUD. So kind of hitting the ground running. Previously I was the sustainability director at UC Davis Health. And then prior to that was at UC Merced, but I'm originally from Indiana. But have been living and loving California for a little over 7 years now. So excited to be a part of SMUD's team now. And my focus primarily is on our internal operations. So really working to enhance, the sustainability aspects of our internal operations and doing that in parallel and in alignment with the zero carbon plan, as Jim mentioned. So I'll just share a couple areas that I'm really pretty invested in working on right now. One is continuing to develop and finalize our SMUD 2030 Sustainable Operations Plan. So again, working through this in tandem with our 2030 Zero Carbon Plan. And we've broken the plan out into 6 focus areas. And then within each of those areas have outlined some different metrics and tactics and how we're approaching it. But just at a high level, the focus areas for our plan include goals around our scopes 1, 2, and 3 carbon emissions. We also will be focusing on green operations, which is dialing in on reduction of air emissions, looking at ways we can reduce our potable water usage, as well as enhancing our in efforts to enhance our waste diversion rate. Also, we have a focus on supply chain efforts, biodiversity and habitat conservation, climate change resilience, and then also engagement. And if folks are interested in learning more, I'm happy to share more, but again, just for the sake of today, just kind of wanted to keep it high level. The other focus that I'm working on is our annual CDP application, which SMUD has been actively doing since 2019. If you're not familiar with CDP, it's a global environmental impact nonprofit, and they run a global disclosure system. And this allows companies, cities, states, and regions to measure and manage their environmental impacts. And so this application will be due the end of July, and then scoring will be released in 2022, the end of 2022. In 2021, SMUD scored an A-, and in 2020, we scored an A. So striving to maintain that, that level of success and commitment. But those are some of my efforts that I'm undertaking thus far, and I'm happy to keep you informed as we make progress. And I'm a big advocate for transparency, so I welcome questions and input along the way as well. But again, nice to meet you all, and I'm excited to be a part of the committee. So thank you.
Thank you, Colleen and Jim. Any questions for SMUD? Okay, moving right along. Let's go to Ken, Department of Water Resources. Ken, if you're talking, you're on mute.
How about that?
There you go. Hi.
I'm the new guy. So good morning, everyone. Janaea and others have talked about this a little bit. AB 2811, which is going to be changing the water code, primarily the building standards for reuse of gray, including black water. That's mostly going to be used for irrigation systems. And when regulations like this change, it pulls in a lot of different agencies, including the drainage department, where we do not want that in our storm drain systems in any way. So we'll be a part of that call also. And I see that Wendy got off earlier. She would have been a good one to notify about this upcoming meeting that Marie Wooden is trying to get together, so we can all just attend and listen to what the city of Sacramento has proposed, because John Lundgren, the county energy sustainability manager, he's interested in this also for reducing or having it go towards our climate action plan. So keep ears to the track on that. That could be a big change for us. We've actually had to deal with a couple residential sites where their systems went haywire, and water was getting into the storm drain system, and had to work with them because it actually is kind of a small septic tank. There's a pre-treatment before it goes to underground leach. None of it can really go above ground. So we'll see how these regulations change also to make it more adaptable for commercial, large commercial facilities. And I believe they're going to roll it into residential at some point for new development. The other thing is, Jennifer, you had sent out something about Forensic Clean, which is a company that is helping the county clean up homeless encampment sites, particularly for bio-waste, and Water Resources, I believe, is now going to be also utilizing those services. So it's interesting. On the stormwater side for NPDES permits, not much has happened. It's been really quiet between us and the regulators, but what continues to drive our busy day-to-day schedules is public pressure and political pressure for trash and bacteria control. So those efforts are growing right now to the point that the stormwater agencies have launched this week or last week on our website how residents can get involved and coordinate their own trash cleanup activities, where we joined efforts with Uptown Studios to create the image and the look and how to reach out to citizens and how they could track their efforts through various social media sites. And we're even going to provide trash cleanup kits and guidance that we worked with a number of agencies to put that guidance together. So never saw my career go in this direction, but always change, and the change is always happening.
Hey, Ken.
Yeah.
On that topic, I did not share any updates because, to your point, it's kind of crept in and become our new world, Becky and I, homeless encampment cleanups and litter cleanup. So I forget to provide updates on that. But I wanted to share with you that Rebecca Richardson, who we refer to as Becky, she's going to be your point person if you want to coordinate with Forensic Clean on any of these efforts. She works directly with them and manages their contract. And she also is now, because Forensic Clean also got awarded the litter cleanup contract. So DOT does litter cleanup, but our department often gets requests from board members. And so because of some extra funding for the homeless encampment cleanups, we were able to obtain this new contract. So Forensic Clean is now also going around district to district. Every day they pick a different district and they have a route and they're doing litter cleanup. So again, there might be some synergies. And if you are aware of specific areas that you're concerned about or need more focus for litter cleanup, please feel free to coordinate with Becky or let her know, because she is creating those routes.
Okay, great. I definitely will, and I have some comments already. Even though my job is to protect receiving waters, we do not get credit from the regulators for cleaning up anywhere near receiving waters. It has to actually be up on the street where it would discharge into our assets. It has to be in an area where it'll go into the storm drain system. It makes no sense. I hope it changes some point in the future through political pressure. So I need really good detailed descriptions of the cleanup location so I can sort through what I have to cherry pick now the data on what I can use and not use. So yeah, I'll be involved in that, and thanks. I'll reach out. And bacteria is the other hot topic right now. We have a lot of pressure from NGOs for dealing with sewer overflows, as well as any sort of direct deposit to waterways of bacteria sources. And we're going to finish up on our 4th year of studying the American River, Lower American River, for bacteria, of which then we run it to a lab and do what's called microbial source tracking, which is looking for specific microbial markers that are found only in the stomach of humans, as well as birds and dogs, and we sort that data. And right now, it's pretty split. Some public agree with our methods and our findings, and others do not, and that is creating a lot of public feedback. And so we'll finish up on that last round in coordination with the state this year to kind of finalize our study of really are the encampments along the lower American River, particularly say Sutter's Landing down to what we call Discovery Park or Jaboom Street Bridge, are those encampments really impacting recreational use? So that's what we're doing in the summer. So people are out there swimming, having a picnic. Is it safe to go into the water? So that final study should come out sometime in, I would say, December. And that's all we have at Water Resources. Thanks.
Thank you, Ken. Next, we'll go to Greg Mahoney with building permits and inspection.
Good morning. How is everyone?
Good.
So we're actually in the community development department here. We're experiencing significant turnover at the chief level. Nancy Springer last Friday was her last day, and Bob Davison is going to be leaving, and Leanne Moffett left. And so we're just working through this transition period. We've actually been really busy. We transitioned to paperless applications a while back, and we're still working out the bugs. Been very busy. Towards the end of the year, this last year, we were receiving 800 to 1,000 permit applications a week. And so we've really been struggling to keep up. I think we're pretty much on top of it now. And we do have, I don't know, 12, 15 vacancies within the building permits and inspections division. We have a lot of activity out at the Metro Air Park. I heard some discussion about gray water systems, and just wanted to let you know, if you didn't already, that there are gray water regulations for small gray water systems in the California Plumbing Code. And if anyone's interested in learning or knowing more about that, I'm happy to forward that information to you. And there was also a discussion about homeless, and we are in the process of creating a couple of homeless villages, one off of Florin, another one we're looking at a site over off Stockton Boulevard. So we are trying to work to help resolve that issue, or at least try to make a dent in it. And I think that's about it. I'm working with John Lundgren on some of the CAP projects. So we're just trying to keep our head above water right now.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Greg.
Sure.
Any other questions for Greg?
I just have a comment, Greg, and it might be far out, but is there any way you could maybe take my name down, and if you guys get those homeless, I guess, areas?
The villages?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Underway, can you just let me know, and we'll make sure we have Forensic Clean go over there. I mean, I might hear it from somebody else, but you sound knowledgeable about it, so.
Okay, Rebecca Richardson.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Sure thing.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right. Jaime.
Hi, good morning, everybody. A few things here just to make touch on some points that were already mentioned. Airports, we're working with a company called Watt EV. They are an electric charging infrastructure company, but then also electric truck. They work with electric truck manufacturers. So we're looking at building an electric charging plaza for big rigs, and we're looking at the exit right there off of Airport. We were already working with Director Phil Cerna and his staff, but then also with the airport staff of the county, and then also with SACOG. And so I think the target goal is within 2 years on that. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on that. Let me see, moving forward with Capital Commerce and just working with Capital Commerce property to provide some additional tree structures, maybe some beautification in that area. So any questions on that from our land use folks at the Sacramento District, please reach out to me on that. Let's see, SMUD, looking at, of course, the zero carbon plan, but specifically on the electrification ordinances that the city of Sacramento is working on. And so we're in conversations with SMUD on that. Of course, moving from gas to electric. Here at our agency, we have two approaches, right? And of course, you have the carrot and the stick approach. I run the carrot approach, and then my counterpart, Amy Roberts, runs the stick approach. And so that's kind of what we're also looking at, right? So both carrot and stick approach on that. Let's see, some other things that may have impact or that we may be reaching out to you on is I specifically for our division, which is the Transportation and Climate Change Division at the Air District. We have an ask at the legislature right now for about $12 million. It's in three parts. One is electric mobility hubs. So much like our car share programs and bike jobs, we're looking at hubs within the Sacramento area. We're looking at 4 sites here within the Sacramento County area. That's one part of the $12 million ask. The other is urban forestry, so urban trees and tree canopy. One of the things that we've also been hearing is don't give us any more trees. Let's figure out how do we pay for the maintenance of the trees and how do we figure out how to water the trees. So that ask has that built into it as well. And then the third component is transit stop canopies. So areas mostly within the South Sacramento area or other areas of need where transit stops do not have anything but just your transit pole. We're looking at putting benches, Wi-Fi, solar, and some canopies on that. So we'll see what that happens. We have a bunch of meetings this week with our legislators. They have a lot of questions on that ask. That is on our transportation and climate change side. Amy Roberts isn't here today, so I'll be also sharing a little bit on her side. We have the supplemental environmental program, which is where a violator from the Air District has the opportunity to share or split the violation. Well, they'll have to pay part of the penalty, but the other half goes to an environmental project within the region. And so Amy and her group are working with a couple of 3 community projects. And so we can't disclose that just yet, but we're looking at spending, or the violator is looking at spending a little over $150,000 to put projects in areas of need. That's one thing. And then also too, she has a program called the Unidentified Source Inspection Program. So this is where we look for folks who should have a permit with the Air District, but don't have a permit with the Air District. So her efforts are focused also in those areas of need. Education, awareness on the permit and regulations, but then also for those folks that may need a permit, of course, we'll also get a violation and we'll have to get put through our permit process also. So those efforts are focused on those areas of need as well. That is it. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me either way. Thank you.
I just had a quick question. How are they looking for folks? Is that via survey? You're having someone survey?
Well, I spent 13 years doing this, so there's a variety of ways. The permit holders who do their part also will point out folks that don't do their part, right? Because it's competition. Yes. So that's one way. The other way is we concentrate on areas where you have clusters of businesses. So like auto body is a good example. Most auto body folks kind of cluster around auto bodies. And so some of them are permitted and some are not. So we'll do sweeps. And so then that way we can identify who needs a permit and who doesn't. Because not just because they're an auto body, does it mean that they need an Air District permit? It just means that they still have to follow the rules and regulations, but they may or may not need a permit. And then the other is through the building department, sometimes with business licensings, and then also sometimes just driving around when you drive around and you see a new shop that pops up in your neighborhood or your zone, it's like, hey, let's stop by and see who that is. So there's various ways of doing that use of program.
Yeah. One of the things that I did talk a little bit about is how we do the mail outs to new businesses. I know auto body is actually one of the categories that we have a specific targeted amount of information. And if there's something specifically you want us to go out in those specific mail outs, when we get our list, we can do that as well.
Okay, I'll pass that along to Amy.
Okay, thank you, Jaime. I think
I
that covered.
I actually have a couple of comments. The first is John Lundgren is the county sustainability manager, and the county has a new energy manager. I put his name in the chat box there. Since the Board of Supervisors declared a climate emergency, I can imagine that each and every one of us will be hearing from both of them on a relatively frequent basis throughout 22, 23, 24. And then the other is I just wanted to make a few clarifying comments on the Watt EV project. While we are all very desirous that this project comes to fruition, it does entail an extremely large solar facility at the approach end of our runways. Well, approach end when it's in north flow, departure end when it's in south flow. And they will have to be able to pass an FAA test for glare, utilizing the solar glare hazard analysis tool. I actually think that solar panels, the technology on them today is such that they will be able to pass it. But because it is so close to the runway and it is such a large facility, we still need that to happen. And then also regarding the 2-year timeline, I know that SMUD needs to put out a new service to be able to handle that much power. So while we're all very excited and hope that we can pull off all of the hurdles and obstacles or overcome them to make it happen, I just want to make sure that we're kind of cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, thank you for the reminder. And yes, I mean, we are at the beginning process of this. So there's still, everybody is agreeing with the project. We just got to get through all the logistics, and all the requirements for all the organizations and agencies.
It is very cool though. You know, I know that the big semis running on, you know, battery electric, that's a big move in the right direction for sure. And like I said, fingers crossed we're able to pull it off.
Thank you. And I think I have covered everyone. If I missed you, please let me know. I was trying to keep very diligent track of all of our funding partners. So thank you, everyone who has shared today. As you can see on these calls, there's a lot of connection with what we do. And so I appreciate you all. Thank you very much. And our next meeting is on May 9th at 10:30 a.m. So please look forward to the information that we're going to send to you after this meeting. And then my updates about Capital Region Small Business Week and BizX. So thank you, everyone. Hopefully you have a very good week, and we'll see you at the next meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Jan. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.